He was fresh out of the police academy and was responding to a crash scene when another crash took the life of 33-year-old Officer Evan Dunn last week. Today, his family, friends, and the public joining with members of law enforcement in saying goodbye to him. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Tom Green. That memorial service for Officer Dunn is going to get underway in about an hour at 1 o'clock, but officers from around the area have been gathering for hours, along with community members as well at South Park Drive near West County Line Road. We're taking a look at the scene there right now, where you can see many law enforcement vehicles have already staged, ready for that procession to take place this afternoon. That memorial service this afternoon is going to be private, though. Officer Dunn is survived by his wife. He was a Black Hawk pilot and a captain in the Army National Guard before graduating from the police academy in July. We've already seen a helicopter arrive at the scene. There will be a Black Hawk flying over the procession to honor his military service as well. Chief Joe Harvey remembered him as an officer who served the close-knit community with honor. Lakewood's Public Information Officer John Romero said departments across the state are all showing their support.
To not only see fellow first responders, but to see the community come out as well, it means the world to everybody. It shows that Officer Dunn had an impact on his community, and the people out here honoring his memory show that. And it means the world to us. It means the world to Golden, and it means the world to his family.
Of course, we will continue to cover the procession and the memorial service for fallen Officer Evan Dunn later today on 9 News at 3 o'clock. And the driver who hit Officer Dunn, as well as another officer, Stephen Gear, is set to be back in court tomorrow. Court documents say Gear told police after the crash that he'd had only one beer at a local brewery, but declined a breathalyzer test. Gear now facing felony charges that include vehicular homicide. A judge set his bond last week at $250,000. Donald Trump and President Biden held their much-anticipated meeting at the White House this morning, with Trump thanking Biden for what he called a smooth transition. Here's NBC's Bree Jackson with more.
President-elect Donald Trump making a return to the nation's capital and back to the White House. He meets with President Biden in the Oval Office today, a tradition that shows the peaceful handoff of power, and one that Mr. Trump did not offer to Biden back in 2020.
Politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome.
And before the meeting at the White House, Trump met with Republican House lawmakers as they focus on the new administration's priorities.
You know, we had like historic kind of numbers, especially for the president, but we won't get into that.
And now he comes back with a possible sweep of both the Senate and the House. Meanwhile, the Senate is in the middle of a contentious vote for a new majority leader as longtime leader Mitch McConnell steps down from the post. Now it's not clear if the president-elect will meet with any of the contenders. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson.
As far as the Senate, Republicans have chosen the man who will replace Mitch McConnell as the majority leader. Senator John Thune of South Dakota, now the next man up. Republican senators meeting behind closed doors today, voting by secret ballot. It took a couple of ballots, but with Republicans in control of the Senate, they've chosen Thune to become the majority leader, at least for the next 2 years. Senator Mitch McConnell served for 18 years in that role before stepping down. One of the most powerful Democrats at the Colorado State Capitol, Senator Chris Hansen, announced yesterday that he's taking a job as a CEO in Southwest Colorado, less than a week after winning a race for District 31. The announcement yesterday, Hansen said he's the new CEO of La Plata Electric Association in Pagosa Springs. He did reference his re-election, saying, quote, "Over the coming weeks, I remain committed to serving my constituents and district, and I will be working through the details of the remainder of my time in the Senate." So he did not say whether or not he might be resigning that Senate seat. Our political reporter, Marshall Zellinger, asked him if he is planning on being a CEO and a state senator for the 2025 and 26 legislature, but has not yet received a response. Let's go outside. Beautiful look from outside a Ball Arena at blue sky, but cooler temperatures. The storm that dropped snow throughout the metro area very much in our rearview mirror. Much of that snow continuing to melt off. So let's get to Lauren Robinson for where we stand and where we're headed. Hi, Lauren.
Hi. Well, as we go through the next few days, we're going to see a lot of this sunny, warm conditions, especially as we make our way through the weekend. But at the beginning of next week, that's where we're looking for our next chances for snow. Still, those details a little foggy as that's several days away. But this afternoon, it's sunny, a little chilly out there, 38 degrees. We have winds coming in from the southeast at around 10 miles per hour, making it feel closer to 31 degrees on the skin. So this afternoon, we're going to be dry and sunny, but you do still need that fall coat with those temperatures around freezing. As we take a look at our live radar, this system off across the Pacific Northwest eventually will move its way eastward, and we're looking for it to hit Colorado for the first half of next week. In the meantime, we have a ridge of high pressure that's bringing sunny, warm conditions. So as we go through the rest of this afternoon, we'll see those temperatures in the low 50s for our highs. That sticks around through around sunset or so, and then we'll start to see those temperatures drop off into the 40s with some lows in the low 30s overnight and into early tomorrow morning. Coming up in my full 7-day forecast, we'll talk a bit more about the sunny and seasonal weather today, the warm up we have planned for this weekend, and our next chances for snow next week. All of that for you just ahead.
We know the Denver Public School District is looking to close and consolidate schools, but it's the same story in Douglas County as well. School officials holding the first meeting with the community this morning. Courtney Yoon now with the details on that district's struggles.
Community members are invited to hear about the Douglas County School District's potential plan to pair up 6 elementary schools. That could result in the closing of 3 schools total. Now, the Douglas County School District says in 2014, they had more than 10,400 kids in 18 buildings. Today, they have just over 7,400 in those same 18 buildings. They believe that number will drop another 1,000 students by 2028. District leaders say they need fewer buildings to preserve opportunities for kids and to remain solvent. They also want to avoid long bus rides for students in under-enrolled schools. The district says it's experiencing massive growth in areas like Sterling Ranch, which is in between Chatfield and Roxborough State Parks, as well as Ridgegate and Lone Tree. The elementary schools they're considering to close are in Highlands Ranch. The first community meeting was today at 9 a.m. at Ranch View Middle School. Next week on the 20th, there's another evening meeting at 6 p.m. at Mountain Ridge Middle School. There's a 6 p.m. virtual meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd, and the last meeting is Wednesday, December 11th at 6 p.m. over at Crest Hill Middle School. During these meetings, the district says decisions about which 3 elementary schools would potentially close will not be made. The meetings are meant to discuss and provide feedback. Right now, the school district has no plans to close any middle or high schools, and DCSD says the decision whether to potentially close these elementary schools will be made in April 2025 and become effective for the 2026-2027 school year. In Castle Rock, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
UC Health has settled a federal investigation by agreeing to pay $23 million. Investigators were looking into claims that the hospital system was artificially inflating bills for Medicare patients. The DOJ's claim was that UC Health was automatically using higher cost codes for Medicare and TRICARE patients in their emergency rooms. There are set billing codes for those patients based on how the hospitals treat them during visits. A whistleblower claimed that between 2017 and 2021, UC Health was automatically coding some emergency room visits at the highest levels, regardless of how long the patients were there and which resources were used during their visits. UC Health is agreeing to settle, but the hospital system still denies the allegations. A spokesperson saying they did it to avoid a long legal process. That whistleblower, who is a former coding specialist with the hospital system, will get nearly $4 million from that settlement.